These aren't just stories. They're what they don't want you to find. Welcome to Night Stories.
I couldn't stop staring at the laptop. It sat there on the pawnshop counter, its cracked screen glowing faintly like a dying ember, the keys worn smooth from years of use. The old man behind the counter didn't say much, just grunted when I asked how much, sliding a grimy price tag my way. $20. It was a steal, even if it looked like it had been dragged through a dumpster. I was a broke college student, always hunting for bargains, and this thing seemed perfect for late-night papers and cheap gaming. I handed over the cash, ignoring the way the man's eyes lingered on me, dark and unblinking, like he knew something I didn't. The walk back to my dorm was uneventful, the laptop tucked under my arm, its weight heavier than it should have been. When I got to my room, I plugged it in, expecting it to sputter and die. Instead, it hummed to life, the screen flickering before settling into a grainy desktop. No password, no lockout, just a blank slate with a few old files and a browser icon. I clicked it, figuring I'd wipe it clean later, but the internet connection kicked in immediately, faster than my own setup. Weird, but convenient. That's when I noticed the bookmarks. Tucked away in a folder labeled Cache was a link with no name, just a string of random characters. Curiosity got the better of me. I clicked it. The screen went black for a moment, then loaded a page that didn't look like anything I'd seen before. The interface was crude, all jagged text and distorted images, like something carved out of a nightmare. At the top, in dripping red letters, it read, "The Crow's Cache." Below that, a menu. Services, curses, souls. My stomach twisted, but I couldn't look away. The first listing under services was a ritual to summon something with too many limbs, its description vague but laced with warnings about uncontainable hunger. The price was listed in some currency I didn't recognize, a symbol that looked like a broken wing. I scrolled down, my fingers trembling. Curses offered everything from eternal insomnia to flesh rot, each one accompanied by grainy photos of victims, swollen tongues lolling from cracked lips, eyes sunken into hollow sockets, skin peeling like wet paper. I gagged, but the page wouldn't let me close it. The cursor wouldn't move to the exit button. Then I hit souls. The listings were worse. Faces stared back at me, some young, some old, all terrified. One was a woman with matted hair, her eyes wide and pleading, a price tag beneath her image. Fresh, untainted, 3 units. Another was a child, his mouth stitched shut with black thread, the photo so clear I could see the tears streaking his cheeks. I wanted to stop, to shut the laptop and throw it out the window, but my hands wouldn't obey. It was like the screen had me pinned, its glow seeping into my skull. Hours passed. I don't know how many. My roommate was out, the dorm quiet except for the faint hum of the laptop. I kept scrolling, each page more horrific than the last. There was a video link under one soul listing. Against every instinct, I clicked it. The footage was shaky, dark, lit only by a flickering lantern. A man knelt in the center of a circle, scratched into the dirt, his wrists bound with wire that bit deep into his flesh, blood pooling beneath him. A figure in a hooded cloak stepped forward, its hands gnarled and clawed, holding a jagged blade. The man screamed as the blade sank into his chest, the sound cutting off abruptly as his body convulsed, then went still. The camera zoomed in, showing his eyes, empty, glassy, but still moving, darting around as if searching for escape. The video ended with a laugh, low and guttural, that echoed in my ears long after the screen went black. I finally managed to slam the laptop shut, my breath coming in shallow gasps. My hands were shaking, slick with sweat, and my reflection in the dark screen showed eyes too wide, too panicked. I told myself it was fake, some sick prank, a hidden corner of the dark web designed to mess with people. But the weight in my chest didn't lift. I couldn't shake the feeling that I'd seen something real, something that had seen me back. The next morning I woke to a dull ache behind my eyes. My room smelled wrong, metallic like blood, though there was none to be seen. I tried to focus on my classes, but the images from the night before kept flashing in my mind. The stitched mouth, the empty eyes, the blade sinking into flesh. By afternoon, I couldn't take it anymore. I opened the laptop again, telling myself I'd delete the bookmark, erase the cache, and be done with it. But when I logged in, the page was already there, waiting. No need to click the link. It loaded automatically. A new message blinked at the top. Welcome, buyer. Your debt begins. My heart stopped. Debt? I hadn't bought anything. I scrolled frantically, looking for an explanation, and found it under a tab labeled Rules. The text was smeared, as if written in ink that wouldn't dry. To view is to owe. Payment must be made. Offer something, or the cash claims you. Below that, a list of options. Memories, years, loved ones. My mouth went dry. I hadn't agreed to this. I hadn't even clicked accept. But the page insisted I was bound. Panic set in. I tried to shut it down, but the laptop wouldn't turn off. I unplugged it, yanked the battery, nothing. The screen stayed on, the cash glaring at me. I slammed it shut again and shoved it under my bed, vowing to take it back to the pawn shop. But that night, the hum started. A low, rhythmic buzz coming from under the mattress. I pulled the laptop out and the screen was alive again, open to the cache. A new message. Time runs short. Choose. I didn't sleep. The next day, my reflection in the mirror showed dark veins creeping under my skin, starting at my temples and spreading toward my jaw. My hands shook as I touched them, feeling a faint pulse where there shouldn't have been one. In class, I couldn't focus. Every sound was amplified. Every shadow moved. I kept seeing the child with the stitched mouth, his eyes locked on mine, accusing. By evening, the ache behind my eyes had turned into a stabbing pain, and my vision blurred with flashes of the cache's images. The woman's peeling skin, the man's twitching corpse. I had to do something. I opened the laptop again, my hands slick with sweat. The rules tab updated. 3 days to pay or the cash takes. It was the second day. I scrolled to the payment options, my stomach churning. Memories. Lose everything before last year, including my family's faces, my childhood. Years. Give up 10 of my life, aging overnight. Loved ones. Offer someone else. And the cash would spare me. I stared at the last one, my mind drifting to my sister, her laugh echoing in my head. No, I couldn't. But the alternative was watching those veins spread, feeling my body rot from the inside. That night, I dreamed of the hooded figure. It stood over me, its claws tracing the air above my chest. I woke up screaming, my sheets soaked with sweat, the laptop humming beside me. The screen showed a countdown. 2 days left. The veins had reached my neck, throbbing with every heartbeat. I could smell my own flesh decaying, a faint rot that made me gag. I knew I had to choose, but the thought of losing my memories, or worse, my sister, tore at me. I tried to fight it, to find a way out, but the cache was relentless. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw the souls, their silent pleas, and I wondered if I'd end up like them. I sat with the laptop, the countdown at 1 day, and the options loomed larger than ever. Memories meant forgetting who I was. Years meant a body I couldn't recognize. Loved ones meant betrayal, but survival. The cache didn't care about my morality. It wanted payment, and it would take it one way or another. I don't know how long I sat there staring at the screen, the hum filling my ears. The veins pulsed, the rot spread, and the faces of the souls watched me, waiting. I had to decide, but every choice felt like a death sentence. Mine, or someone else's. The laptop's glow burned into my eyes, and I knew, deep down, that the crow's cache had already won. The countdown on the laptop screen glared at me, a relentless red flicker marking the hours I had left. 1 day. The air in my dorm room felt thick, suffocating, like it was pressing against my chest, forcing me to breathe in the stench of my own decay. The veins under my skin had thickened, dark tendrils now snaking down my arms, pulsing with a rhythm that wasn't my heartbeat. My gums throbbed, blood dripping onto my shirt as I prodded at the jagged teeth that had erupted overnight. I couldn't recognize myself anymore. My reflection was a stranger, a gaunt figure with hollow cheeks and eyes that glowed faintly in the dim light. I tried to leave, to get help, but my legs buckled the moment I stood. The floor seemed to tilt, and I collapsed, my hands slapping against the cold tiles. The laptop hummed louder, its screen flaring to life even though it was unplugged. A new message scrolled across the top. Run, and we take now. My stomach churned, bile rising as I dragged myself back to the bed. I couldn't escape it. The cash had me, and it wasn't letting go. I forced myself to look at the payment options again. Memories, years, loved ones. Each word felt like a blade twisting deeper. Losing my memories meant erasing my mother's voice, the smell of her cooking, the way my sister used to braid my hair when we were kids. Years meant waking up old, my body breaking down before I'd even lived. Loved ones. I couldn't think about that. Not yet. But the cash didn't care about my hesitation. A new line appeared. Delay costs more. The pain intensified, a searing heat spreading from my chest to my fingertips. I clawed at my shirt, tearing it open to see the skin splitting, revealing raw, glistening muscle beneath. The sight made me retch, but nothing came up. Just a dry heave that left my throat raw. I could hear whispers now, faint voices seeping from the laptop, overlapping in a chorus of despair. They were the souls, I realized, begging, screaming, their words garbled but insistent. Pay, pay, pay. I slammed my hands over my ears, but it didn't help. The voices were inside my head, clawing at my thoughts. I had to do something. I opened the laptop again, my trembling fingers hovering over the keyboard. The rules tab updated. Offer accepted binds the deal. No refunds. I scrolled to the payment section, my vision blurring with tears and blood. I couldn't lose my memories. I needed to know who I was, even if it was just to fight this. Years felt like a death sentence, too. My body already betraying me. That left loved ones. My sister's face flashed in my mind. Her bright smile, the way she'd text me dumb memes to cheer me up. I loved her more than anything. The thought of offering her made my stomach lurch, but the cash was pushing me, its whispers growing louder, promising relief if I just gave in. I typed her name, my fingers shaking so badly I had to correct the letters 3 times. The screen flashed and a new prompt appeared. Confirm offering her name. Binding complete upon acceptance. I froze. My hand hovered over the enter key, sweat dripping onto the keyboard. The veins on my arms pulsed faster, the skin around them turning black, flaking away like ash. I could feel my lungs tightening, each breath a struggle. The cash wasn't bluffing. It would take me if I didn't act. But selling her? I couldn't live with that. I slammed the laptop shut, throwing it across the room. It hit the wall with a crack, but didn't break. The screen flickered back on, the countdown now at 12 hours. The whispers turned to laughter, a sound that grated against my skull. I curled into a ball on the floor, rocking back and forth, trying to block it out. My body was failing, my legs wouldn't move, and my hands were starting to curl inward, the fingers locking as the rot spread. I could smell it now, a rancid odor that filled the room, like meat left to spoil in the sun. I knew I was running out of time, but the idea of betraying her was unbearable. Hours passed in a haze of pain and panic. The laptop's hum grew into a roar, and the screen lit up the room with a sickly green glow. I crawled toward it, my body screaming in protest. The countdown was at 6 hours. A new message. Partial payment accepted. Offer more. My mind raced. Partial payment? I hadn't confirmed anything. But the cash didn't care about my intent. It was feeding off my fear, my hesitation. I opened the payment options again, desperate for a way out. A new line had appeared. Self. I stared at it, my breath catching. Selling myself? The description was sparse. Full surrender. No return. It didn't specify what that meant. Death, enslavement, something worse? But it was an option. My heart pounded as I considered it. If I offered myself, maybe it would spare her. Maybe it would end this nightmare. The decision tore at me, but the alternative was unthinkable. I typed my name, my hand steady for the first time in hours. The screen flashed. Confirm offering, my name. Binding complete upon acceptance. I hesitated, the weight of it crushing me. The veins had reached my chest now, the skin splitting open in thin, jagged lines, revealing bone beneath. The pain was blinding, but the thought of my sister's safe pushed me forward. I hit enter. The screen went black for a moment, then reloaded. The countdown disappeared, replaced by a single line. Deal bound. Collection imminent. My relief was short-lived. The room grew colder, the air thickening with a presence I couldn't see. The laptop's hum stopped, replaced by the sound of wings, hundreds of them, flapping in unison. I looked up, and the shadows on the walls moved, coalescing into a shape. A figure cloaked in feathers, its face hidden, but its eyes glowing like embers. I tried to scream, but my voice was gone, my throat closing as the figure stepped closer. Its claws scraped the floor, leaving trails of black ichor. The whispers returned, louder now, chanting my name. I felt a pull, like something was being ripped from my chest, not my heart, but something deeper, my essence. My vision darkened, the room spinning as the figure loomed over me. I saw my hands dissolve into ash, my legs crumbling beneath me, and I knew the cash had claimed its price. But then it stopped. The figure paused, tilting its head as if listening. The laptop screen flared, a new message. Payment insufficient. Balance due. My body reformed, the pain rushing back, worse than before. The veins pulsed with renewed vigor, the rot spreading faster, my skin sloughing off in wet clumps. I realized my mistake. I'd offered myself, but it wasn't enough. The cash wanted more. And with 5 hours left, I had to find something else to give, or it would take everything. The figure lingered above me, its ember-like eyes boring into what was left of my soul. My body was a wreck, skin hanging in ragged strips, bones jutting through where the rot had eaten deepest, and the stench of my own decay filled my lungs with every labored breath. The laptop screen pulsed with that cruel message. Payment insufficient. Balance due. 5 hours remained, a countdown ticking in the corner like a guillotine blade waiting to fall. The air was thick with the sound of those wings, a relentless flapping that echoed in my skull. And the whispers had turned into a cacophony of voices, each one clawing at my sanity. I dragged myself toward the laptop, my arms trembling under the weight of my disintegrating flesh. The cloaked figure didn't move, just watched, its claws tapping the floor in a rhythm that matched the countdown. I had to think. Offering myself hadn't been enough, so what else could I give? My mind raced, but the pain made it hard to focus. The veins under my skin throbbed, spreading toward my heart, and I could feel it weakening, each beat a struggle against the inevitable. I forced my fingers to the keyboard, the keys slick with blood and pus. The payment options reloaded, but now they were different. Memories was grayed out, a faint note beside it. Already compromised. Years flickered. The price doubled to 20, the description updated to accelerated decay. Loved ones glowed brighter, a new detail added, immediate collection. And self was crossed out, replaced with partial surrender, balance pending. I couldn't offer my sister. I'd rather die than see her face on that screen, her eyes pleading like the souls I'd seen. Years felt like a slow execution, my body already breaking apart faster than I could comprehend. But partial surrender? What did that mean? The lack of detail terrified me, but it was the only option that didn't involve someone else. I typed my name again, my vision swimming as I hit enter. The screen flashed. Partial surrender accepted. Specify offering. A new field opened. A blank box demanding input. My mind blanked. What could I offer that wasn't my life, my memories, or my loved ones? The figure shifted, its claws scraping closer, and I felt a cold dread settle in my gut. The whisper suggested answers. My voice, my sight, my ability to feel. I hesitated, then typed voice. The screen blinked. Confirm offering, voice, binding complete upon acceptance. I hit enter, desperate for relief. The change was instant. A searing pain tore through my throat, like razors slicing from the inside out. I tried to scream, but no sound came, just a wet rasp, air whistling through a ruined windpipe. The figure tilted its head, and I saw its mouth move beneath the hood, mimicking my silence with a mocking grin. The laptop updated. Payment received. Balance reduced. 4 hours remain. My relief was drowned by horror. My voice was gone, and it still wasn't enough. The rot slowed, the veins retreating slightly from my heart. But the damage was done. My chest was a mess of exposed muscle and splintered ribs, and my legs were numb, useless beneath me. The figure stepped back, but its presence lingered, a shadow that clung to the walls. I clawed at the laptop, my blood-streaked hands leaving prints on the screen. I had to keep going, had to find a way to pay the balance before it took everything. I reopened the payment options, my mind racing for something else to give. Sight seemed viable. Losing my vision might spare me the nightmares of those faces, the glowing eyes of the figure. I typed sight, my fingers shaking, and confirmed. The pain was blinding this time, a white-hot flash that burned through my eyes. I blinked, and the world went dark, the screen's glow fading into a vague blur. I felt something wet trickle down my cheeks. Blood or tears. I couldn't tell. The laptop chimed. Payment received, balance reduced, 3 hours remain. The silence was deafening without my voice, and the darkness without my sight was suffocating. But the rot didn't stop. It crept back, slower now, but relentless. I could still feel it. The skin peeling away, the bones grinding together. The figure's claws clicked closer again, and I knew it was waiting for me to fail. The whispers returned, urging me to offer more, my hearing, my touch, my ability to love. I recoiled at the last one, the thought of losing my connection to my sister too much to bear. I fumbled with the laptop, my hands finding the keys by memory. I typed hearing, confirming it with a trembling press. The world went quiet, the wings and whispers snuffed out like a candle. The pain was a dull throb in my ears, replaced by a ringing that faded into nothing. The screen updated. Payment received. Balance reduced. 2 hours remain. I was a shell now. No voice, no sight, no hearing. Yet the cash still demanded more. The figure's presence grew heavier, its claws brushing my arm. I felt the rot accelerate, the flesh of my shoulders sloughing off in clumps, the bone beneath exposed to the air. I couldn't scream, couldn't see, couldn't hear, but I could feel every agonizing second. My hands found the laptop again, and I typed blindly, guessing at the keys. I offered touch, confirming it. The sensation vanished. My hands went numb. The pain dulled to a distant ache, and the screen chimed. Payment received, balance reduced. 1 hour remain. I was nothing now, a body without senses, a mind trapped in darkness. The figure loomed closer, its claws piercing my chest, but I couldn't feel it. The laptop's final message appeared. Balance due. Final offering required. The options were gone, replaced with a single line. Love. My heart, or what was left of it, sank. Losing my ability to love meant losing my sister, my family, everything that made me human. But the alternative was annihilation, my body dissolving into ash. The figure's claws tightened, and I felt a pull, not physical but emotional, a tearing at my core. I typed, love, my numb fingers fumbling, and confirmed. The screen flashed, deal bound, collection complete. The pull stopped, and the figure retreated. I couldn't feel the relief, couldn't hear the silence, couldn't see the room, but I knew it was over. My love was gone. A hollow void where my sister's memory should have been. The laptop shut down, its hum fading, and I sat there, a broken shell, wondering what I'd become. I sat there, a husk in the darkness, the laptop's silence a void that swallowed what little remained of me. My body was a ruin, skin gone, bones exposed, muscles decayed into a pulpy mess. But I was still alive, trapped in a prison of my own making. The figure had vanished, its presence lifting like a weight off my chest, though I couldn't feel it anymore. My senses were gone. Voice, sight, hearing, touch, and now love, stripped away by the crow's cash. The hollow where my emotions should have been ached with a cold emptiness, a reminder of what I'd sacrificed. The laptop lay dormant beside me, its screen black, but I knew it wasn't over. The balance might have been paid, but the cash never let go easily. Time blurred. I couldn't tell if minutes or hours had passed since the final offering. My roommate would be back soon, or maybe he already had. I couldn't hear his footsteps, couldn't see his face. The thought of him finding me like this, a grotesque shell leaking onto the floor, sent a shiver through what was left of my mind. I tried to move, to drag myself to the door, but my limbs wouldn't respond. The rot had eaten too deep, leaving me a statue of bone and sinew anchored to the spot. A faint vibration jolted me, a tremor I couldn't feel but somehow sensed deep within. The laptop flared to life again, its screen casting a sickly light across the room. I couldn't see it, but I knew it was there, its hum returning like a heartbeat. A new message scrolled into my awareness, not through my eyes or ears, but as a thought forced into my skull. Deal fulfilled. New access granted. My stomach, if it still existed, would have dropped. New access. I hadn't asked for this, hadn't wanted it, but the cache didn't care about my desires. It fed on my desperation. The vibration intensified, and I felt a pull, not from my body but from my mind. Images flooded what was left of my consciousness. New listings, darker than before. Souls with faces I recognized, their eyes hollowed out, mouths sewn shut with my own blood. Services offering eternal torment, curses that turned flesh to stone, piece by piece. The prices were higher, the currency now a symbol that pulsed like a living thing. I tried to resist, to push the thoughts away, but they rooted deeper, planting seeds of horror I couldn't escape. One image stood out, a mirror reflecting not my ruined form but my sister's face, her skin splitting, veins darkening under her eyes. A price tag hovered beneath, claimed collateral, redeemable. My mind reeled. I'd offered my love, not her, but the cache had twisted it, holding her as leverage. The message updated: redeem with final payment or collection proceeds. Final payment. The words echoed, a demand I couldn't ignore. But what did I have left to give? My body was a wreck, my senses gone, my emotions erased. All that remained was my existence, my will to keep going. I focused on the laptop, willing my numb hands to move. They twitched, guided by some instinct I didn't understand, and typed existence. The screen flared. Confirm offering existence. Binding complete upon acceptance. I hesitated, the weight of it crushing what was left of my mind. Existence meant oblivion, erasing myself entirely, leaving nothing behind. But if it saved her, if it stopped the cache from claiming her, it might be worth it. The pull from my chest grew stronger, the figure's claws returning in my thoughts, scraping at the edges of my being. I confirmed. The room shook, a violent tremor that I felt as a ripple in my mind. The laptop's light dimmed, and a new message burned into my consciousness. Payment accepted. Collection in progress. The pull became a tear, my essence unraveling like thread from a spool. I saw flashes, my childhood, my sister's laugh, the pawn shop, the first glimpse of the cache, all dissolving into blackness. My body began to crumble, bones turning to dust, flesh evaporating into the air. I couldn't feel it, couldn't hear it, but I knew it was happening. Then a pause, the tear stopped, and the laptop's hum returned, weaker now. A final message. Collateral released. Balance cleared. My sister's face faded from the images, replaced by an empty void. I'd done it. I'd saved her. But the cost was my everything. My consciousness flickered, a candle about to go out. The figure appeared one last time, its claws retracting, its ember eyes dimming as it stepped back into the shadows. I tried to hold on, to grasp at some remnant of myself, but there was nothing left. My mind slipped, the darkness closing in, and I felt myself dissolve. The laptop shut down, its light extinguished, and the room fell silent. I was gone, or so I thought. A faint awareness lingered, a thread of thought tethered to the cache. I wasn't dead, not fully. I was part of it now, a ghost in its network, watching as new users stumbled into its grasp, their faces lighting up the screen I could no longer see. The cache lived on, and so did I, trapped in its endless cycle. I felt the pull of new listings, new souls, new curses, and I knew I'd guide them, a silent witness to their downfall. My sister was safe, but I was lost, a pawn in a game I'd never escape. The hum returned, and with it, the first click of a new visitor, their curiosity sealing their fate as mine had been sealed. I could do nothing but watch, an eternal observer in the crow's cache, forever bound to its darkness. The hum of the crow's cache thrummed through me, an unending pulse that defined my existence as a wisp of awareness woven into its dark fabric. I was neither alive nor dead, a shadow of myself trapped within this malevolent network, tethered to the laptop that had consumed me. The date, July 15th, 2025, lingered as a faint echo the moment my world shattered, now a marker of my eternal confinement. Visitors came and went, their clicks resonating in my mind like footsteps on a tombstone. I couldn't see their faces, couldn't hear their breaths, but I felt their curiosity, their dread, their inevitable fall into the cache's grasp. They arrived one by one, a young woman searching for lost secrets, a man driven by revenge, a child lured by forbidden thrills. I was compelled to guide them, my will hijacked to display the horrors I'd once witnessed. Souls with sunken eyes and stitched mouths, curses that turned flesh to ash, services promising power at the cost of humanity. The rules flashed before them. To view is to owe. I tried to resist, to pull them back, but the cache's hold was absolute, forcing me to deepen their descent. Their panic fed it, and I felt its strength grow with every transaction. The young woman hesitated over a curse, her mind brushing mine as she chose one to wither an enemy's mind. I felt her satisfaction turn to terror when the enemy's body was found, brain liquefied, leaking from ears and nose. The man bought a soul, his brother's face appearing on the listings, eyes gouged out, mouth gaping in a silent scream as the figure with ember eyes claimed him. The child summoned a ritual, and I sensed the chaos. Screams cut short, walls painted with blood. Their payments cleared their debts, but the cache hungered for more, and I was its unwilling instrument. Then came a stillness, a rupture in the rhythm. A presence emerged, ancient and vast, dwarfing the figure with ember eyes. The cache quivered, its hum faltering. A message seared into my mind. Overseer approaches, balance audited. The Overseer. Its name sent a chill through my fragment of consciousness. Was it the cache's creator, its judge? The figure retreated, its claws fading, and the listings froze mid-scroll. The audit began, a cold, relentless probe into my essence, every offering I'd made, every soul I'd guided. The cache defended itself, flaunting my role in its sustenance, but the Overseer's judgment was impartial. A new message burned. Agent compromised. Reclamation initiated. Reclamation? Panic surged, a faint echo in my hollow state. The Overseer's shadow form loomed, a writhing mass that reached into the network, into me. The pull was excruciating, unraveling the threads of my awareness. Flashes of my past, the pawn shop, the first click, my sister's face, dissolved into nothingness. The cache wailed through me, a silent agony, as the Overseer stripped it of its agents. I was being unmade, erased from its system and the world. The laptop in the dorm flared, its screen projecting the Overseer, a towering silhouette of shifting darkness. It plunged into the network, tearing at my essence. The visitors' screens went black, their connections severed, their debts suspended. The cache shrank, its power draining, and I felt it collapse within me. The Overseer lingered, ensuring no remnant survived, then withdrew, leaving a void. The laptop's circuits fried, its light extinguished, and silence reigned. I thought I was gone, but a sliver of awareness persisted, a whisper cast into the emptiness. I couldn't feel, see, hear, or love, but I knew I'd been liberated, if only in part. The cache was destroyed, its grip broken, and my sister was safe. Her image never reappeared. The cost had been my entirety, but the nightmare ended. That fragment faded, a final breath in the dark, and I released it, yearning for oblivion, for peace. The clock in my mind stopped, and I let the silence take me, hoping it was the end. They called it a perfect replica of the internet, a twisted reflection that scraped every corner of the clear web and spat it back out, warped and wrong. I didn't believe it at first, just another urban legend, like red rooms or cursed videos. But boredom and a bottle of cheap whiskey had me downloading Tor, following a string of cryptic instructions, and typing an onion address I'd found buried in a thread. The site loaded, and my breath caught. It looked like my browser homepage, same layout, same search bar, same curated newsfeed. But the headlines were off. Local man found dismembered in park with a photo of a place I recognized, except the article claimed it happened tomorrow. Another. Global blackout leaves millions stranded, dated 3 days from now. I clicked through, heart pounding, expecting a glitch or a prank. The articles were detailed. Names, places, quotes from witnesses who sounded real. Too real. I checked my regular browser. Nothing. No mention of these events anywhere. I should have closed the laptop then. I should have poured out the whiskey and gone to bed. But I didn't. Instead, I scrolled deeper, my curiosity a gnawing thing, like a splinter under my skin. Social media links on the site led to profiles that mirrored mine: Facebook, Twitter, even my old Reddit account. But the posts weren't mine. They were close, eerily so, same tone, same slang, but they referenced things I hadn't done. A status update about a party I never attended posted 2 hours ago. A photo of me smiling in a place I'd never been, my arm around a woman whose face was blurred, like someone had smudged it with their thumb. My stomach twisted. I clicked on her profile, but it was blank, just a gray silhouette where her picture should have been. Then the emails started. I'd linked my account years ago to some forgotten service, and the Mirror site had it. The inbox loaded, and there they were, dozens of messages from myself. The subject lines were mundane. Hey, check this out. You need to see this. But the content, God, the content. One email described a fight I'd had with my brother, except it ended with me smashing a bottle over his head, watching blood pool on the kitchen floor. I haven't spoken to him in years, and we've never fought like that. Another email was just a list of names, people I knew, friends, co-workers, my parents, each paired with a date and a cause of death. Some were in the past, some in the future. My mother's name was there, tied to a car accident that supposedly happened last week. She's alive. I called her to make sure, my voice shaking as she laughed off my concern. I kept exploring, unable to stop. The site was a labyrinth, every link leading to something more unsettling. A news article about a fire in my apartment building, with a grainy photo of my bedroom window, flames licking the glass. The date was next month. A Reddit thread where users discussed a missing person case. My name, my face, my last known location. The comments were vicious, accusing me of things I'd never done, describing me as unstable and dangerous. One user posted a video link. Against every instinct, I clicked it. The footage was shaky, filmed from a phone. It showed me, or someone who looked like me, standing in an alley I pass every day on my way to work. My doppelganger's face was pale, eyes wide and unblinking, like he was staring through the camera. He held a knife, slick with something dark, and the video cut to a body on the ground. The face was unrecognizable, pulped into a mess of flesh and bone. But the clothes, they were mine. The same jacket I was wearing right now, the same tear on the sleeve. The video ended abruptly, and when I tried to replay it, the link was dead. My hands were shaking so badly I could barely type. I closed the browser, unplugged my router, and sat in the dark, listening to the hum of the city outside. Sleep didn't come. Every creak of the floorboards, every distant siren felt like the world bending toward the horrors I'd seen. The next morning, I tried to convince myself it was a hoax, some elaborate troll, a psychological experiment. But when I logged back into the clear web, my email had a new message, from my own address. No subject, just one line. You can't ignore it. It's already happening. I deleted it, but another appeared an hour later. Then another. Each one was more specific, describing moments from my day, eating cereal, checking my phone, glancing out the window, as if someone was watching me. But it wasn't just surveillance. The emails predicted things. Small at first, like a coworker spilling coffee on my desk. It happened an hour later. Then bigger. One warned me not to take the subway home. I ignored it, stubborn, and watched as the train screeched to a halt mid-tunnel, lights flickering, passengers screaming as smoke filled the car. I got out, barely, coughing and shaking, but the news that night reported no such incident. It was like it only happened to me. The Mirror site became an obsession. I spent days holed up in my apartment, curtains drawn, laptop burning my thighs as I dug deeper. The more I explored, the more the site seemed to know me. Not just my habits, but my thoughts, my fears. It showed me articles about a world unraveling, cities flooded, governments collapsing, people turning on each other in ways that made my skin crawl. One video, buried in a fake YouTube clone, showed a crowd tearing a man apart in the street, their hands slick with blood, their faces blank but gleeful. The man's screams were high and raw, and when the camera zoomed in, I saw my own eyes staring back. I tried to stop. I deleted Tor, smashed my router, even threw my laptop into the dumpster. But the emails kept coming, now to my phone, my work computer, even a friend's device when I borrowed it to check my account. They weren't just predictions anymore, they were instructions. Go to the corner of 5th and Elm at midnight. Buy a knife from the hardware store. Don't answer the door tonight. I ignored them at first, but the consequences were immediate. The night I didn't answer the door, I heard footsteps in the hall, heavy and deliberate, stopping right outside. Something scratched at the wood, slow and rhythmic, for hours. When I checked the next morning, the doorframe was gouged, splinters scattered on the floor. I followed the next instruction out of fear. It told me to visit a specific Onion address at exactly 3 a.m. The page was simple, just a black screen with white text. To escape, you must jump. Below was a list of steps, technical gibberish about altering DNS settings, rerouting my connection through a series of proxies, and reciting a phrase aloud while clicking a link. It felt like a ritual, absurd and terrifying, but I was desperate. The world outside my apartment was starting to feel wrong. Neighbors I'd known for years looked at me with unfamiliar eyes, their smiles too wide, their voices slightly off-pitch. The news on TV reported events I'd already read about on the Mirror site, days before they happened. I followed the steps. The phrase was in a language I didn't recognize, guttural and sharp, burning my throat as I spoke it. The link loaded a new version of the Mirror site, but this one was different. The colors were harsher, the text jagged, like it was written in a hurry. My social media profiles were there, but the posts were grotesque, photos of me standing over bodies, my hands stained red, my face blank. An email arrived as I stared from my own address. Welcome to the next layer. Keep going. The world changed after that. Subtly at first. The sky was too gray, the air too thick, like breathing through wet cloth. People moved differently, their gestures jerky, their eyes lingering too long. I saw my neighbor in the hallway, and his face was wrong, his jaw too sharp, his teeth too many. He smiled and asked if I was okay, but his voice was layered, like two people speaking at once. I locked myself inside, but the Mirror site was waiting. Always open on my phone now, no matter how many times I deleted the app. The instructions grew darker. Cut your palm and smear the blood on the screen. I didn't want to, but the world outside was unraveling faster. Sirens wailed constantly, and the news showed riots, bodies in the streets, faces I recognized from the Mirror site's articles. I sliced my hand with a kitchen knife, wincing as blood dripped onto my phone. The screen flickered, and the site reloaded. This time, it showed a live feed of my apartment, from an angle I couldn't place, high in the corner of the room. I looked up, but there was no camera. Just shadows, shifting in ways they shouldn't. I'm still here, typing this on a phone that won't turn off, in a world that feels less like mine every second. The Mirror site is open, always open, and the latest email just arrived. It says to kill someone I love if I want to jump again. I don't know how much longer I can resist. The air is heavy with the smell of iron, and something is scratching at the door again. The scratching at the door doesn't stop. It's a slow, deliberate grind, like nails dragging through wood, splintering it bit by bit. I haven't slept in days, not properly. My eyes burn and the room feels like it's closing in. The walls too close, the ceiling too low. My phone sits on the table, screen glowing with the Mirror site. The latest email still open. Choose someone you love. End them. Jump. I want to scream, to hurl the phone against the wall, but I know it won't help. The site is everywhere now. On my TV, flickering through static. On my microwave display, scrolling in jagged text. Even in my dreams, where the headlines play like a newsreel of horrors yet to come. I tried to call my mother again, just to hear her voice, to anchor myself to something real. The line crackled and her voice came through, but it wasn't right. She sounded distant, her words slurred, like she was underwater. You shouldn't have looked, she said, unprompted, before the call cut to static. I haven't been able to reach her since. My brother, my friends, same thing. Either they don't answer, or the voices that pick up aren't theirs, laced with that same layered quality, like multiple people speaking in unison. I'm alone now, barricaded in my apartment, with only the mirror sight for company. The world outside is worse. I peeked through the curtains yesterday, and the street was wrong. The buildings across from mine were there, but their shapes were off, angles too sharp, windows too narrow, like a child's drawing of a city. People moved in the distance, but their gaits were jerky, like puppets on frayed strings. One of them stopped, turned, and looked right at my window. I swear their face split into a grin, teeth glinting too bright under the gray sky. I dropped the curtain and haven't looked out since. The mirror site keeps updating, feeding me new horrors. A news article popped up this morning about a massacre at the grocery store down the street. It described bodies torn apart, aisles slick with blood, and a suspect sketch that was unmistakably me. Same jawline, same scar above my eyebrow from a childhood fall. The date was tomorrow. Another article claimed my entire apartment building would collapse in a gas explosion next week, with a photo of the rubble, my jacket visible in the debris. I checked the jacket. It's still hanging in my closet, the same tear on the sleeve. The emails are relentless, each one pushing me toward the unthinkable. You can't stay. The timeline is rotting. Choose, or it chooses for you. I tried ignoring them, but the consequences are immediate. Last night I refused an instruction to burn a photo of my family. An hour later the power flickered and the smell of smoke filled the apartment. I found burn marks on the kitchen counter, shaped like handprints, though I live alone. I burned the photo after that, sobbing as the flames ate my mother's smile. The site rewarded me with a new link, another set of instructions. Go to the basement, find the door that wasn't there before. I didn't want to go. The basement of my building is a dank, forgotten place. Concrete walls, flickering bulbs, and a maze of storage units. But the scratching at my door was louder now, joined by whispers, soft and unintelligible, seeping through the wood. I grabbed a flashlight and the kitchen knife, still crusted with my own blood from the last ritual, and headed downstairs. The hallway was silent, the air thick with the smell of mildew and something sharper, like rotting meat. The elevator was out, so I took the stairs, each step echoing too loudly, like the building was holding its breath. The basement was darker than I remembered, the single bulb overhead flickering erratically. My flashlight beam cut through the gloom, revealing familiar sights, rusted pipes, cobwebs, stacks of moldy boxes. But at the far end of the corridor, where there should have been a blank wall, was a door. It was old, wooden, the paint peeling in strips with a brass knob that looked polished, like it had been used recently. My heart pounded so hard I thought it would crack my ribs. The mirror sight had told me to find it, but standing there, I felt the weight of every bad decision that led me to this moment. I opened the door. It creaked, revealing a staircase descending into darkness. The air that wafted up was cold, damp, and carried a faint metallic tang. My flashlight barely pierced the blackness, but I saw enough. Walls streaked with something dark, glistening like fresh paint. The site's instructions were clear. Go down. Speak the words. Jump. The phrase was the same one I'd recited before, the one that burned my throat. I whispered it as I descended, each step feeling like a betrayal of the world I knew. The staircase seemed endless, the walls narrowing until they brushed my shoulders, the air growing heavier, pressing against my chest. At the bottom was another door, identical to the first. Beyond it was a room, small and windowless, with a single chair in the center. On the chair sat a laptop, screen glowing with the mirror sight, open to a live feed of me standing in that very room. I spun around, searching for a camera, but there was nothing. Just bare concrete walls, slick with the same dark streaks I'd seen on the stairs. The laptop pinged, a new email. Sit, watch, choose. I sat. Because what else could I do? The screen shifted, showing clips of my life. But wrong. Me as a child, drowning a classmate in a creek, laughing as bubbles rose from his thrashing body. Me as a teenager, setting fire to my family home, watching the flames from across the street. Me as an adult, standing over my mother's body, her throat slit, my hands dripping. None of it was real. But it felt real. The memories creeping into my mind like they belonged there. The sight was rewriting me. planting horrors in my past, making me question who I was. The email's final line blinked. Choose someone you love. End them. Jump. I thought of my mother, my brother, my best friend from college. Their faces flashed on the screen, each one paired with a video, predictions maybe, or glimpses of another timeline. My mother choking on her own blood in her kitchen. My brother torn apart in a car wreck, his limbs scattered across the highway. My friend, his eyes gouged out, screaming my name. The knife felt heavy in my hand, the blade catching the laptop's glow. I couldn't do it. I wouldn't, but the room was changing. The walls pulsed like they were breathing. The dark streaks spreading, pooling on the floor. The air grew thick, hard to breathe, and the whispers from upstairs were back, louder now, circling me. Choose, they hissed, not from the laptop but from the walls, the ceiling inside my skull. I screamed, slashing at the air with the knife, but it did nothing. The laptop pinged again, a new instruction. If you won't choose, we will. I ran, up the stairs, through the door, back to the basement, then to my apartment. The scratching followed, louder, faster, like claws scrabbling to keep up. I locked the door, shoved furniture against it, but the whispers were inside now, burrowing into my thoughts. My phone lit up. The mirror site loading without me touching it. A new article. Local man kills family in murder-suicide. The date was tonight. The photo showed my apartment, my face, my knife. I don't know what's real anymore. The world outside is a nightmare. Buildings crumbling into shapes that don't make sense. People with too many teeth, too many eyes. The mirror site is all I have. Its instructions the only thing keeping me alive. Or maybe damning me further. The latest email says to find a new door, this one in my own apartment, hidden behind the mirror in my bathroom. I haven't looked yet. I'm too afraid of what's behind it, what I'll become if I jump again. But the scratching is louder now and the air smells like blood. Something's coming, and I don't think I can stop it. The air in my apartment is thick, like I'm breathing through a wet rag soaked in copper. The scratching at the door has stopped, but the silence is worse, heavy, expectant, like the moment before a scream. My phone sits on the coffee table, the mirror site glowing, its latest email open. Break the mirror in your bathroom. Find the door. Jump. My hands shake as I grip the kitchen knife, its blade still crusted with my blood from the last ritual. I don't want to do this, but the world is slipping away, unraveling into something I don't recognize. The walls pulse faintly, the same way they did in the basement, and the shadows in the corners seem to writhe, stretching toward me when I'm not looking. I tried to leave the apartment earlier, to run, to find someone, anyone who could prove I'm not losing my mind. But the hallway was wrong. The fluorescent lights flickered, casting jagged shadows, and the doors to other apartments were gone, replaced by smooth, featureless walls. At the end of the corridor, where the elevator should have been, was a single figure. It looked like my neighbor, the one with the too wide smile. But its head was tilted at an impossible angle, neck bent like a snapped twig. It didn't move, just stared, its eyes black pits that seemed to suck in the light. I backed away, heart hammering, and locked myself inside again. The mirror site was waiting, as always, with a new message. You can't run. The door is your only way out. I stand in front of the bathroom mirror now, the knife heavy in my hand. My reflection looks wrong, my eyes too sunken, my skin too pale, like I'm already half gone. The mirror is old, its edges chipped, the glass streaked with age. I raise the knife, hesitating, my breath fogging the surface. The email's instructions were clear, but every step I take pulls me deeper into this nightmare. I swing the knife anyway, the blade cracking the glass. Shards fall, shattering on the tile, and behind the broken mirror is a door. It's small, barely tall enough for me to duck through, made of warped wood with a rusted handle. The air seeping from it is cold, carrying that same metallic tang I smelled in the basement, mixed with something sour, like decay. I open the door and a staircase descends into darkness, just like before. The walls are closer this time, slick with something that glistens in my flashlight's beam. I touch one, and my fingers come away sticky, smeared with a dark, viscous fluid that smells of iron and rot. The phrase from the mirror site burns in my throat, the same guttural words I spoke last time. I whisper them as I descend. each step creaking under my weight, the sound echoing too loudly in the narrow space. The walls seem to breathe, contracting and expanding, and the whispers are back, slithering through the air, urging me downward. At the bottom is another room, smaller than the last, the walls pulsing faster, the floor slick with that same dark fluid. In the center is a table, and on it, a cracked ancient laptop, its screen glowing with the mirror sight. The live feed shows me standing in the room, my face pale and drawn, the knife trembling in my hand. I look around. No camera, just like before, but the feed shifts, zooming in on my eyes, then cutting to a new scene. It's my mother's house, her kitchen, but the walls are smeared with blood, the floor littered with broken glass. She's there, tied to a chair, her face bruised, her eyes wide with terror. The knife in my hand feels heavier, like it's pulling me toward her. The laptop pings, a new email. You know what to do. End her. Jump. My stomach lurches, bile rising in my throat. I can't do this. I won't. But the room is closing in, the walls pressing tighter, the air so thick I can barely breathe. The whispers are louder now, a chorus of voices, some familiar. My mother, my brother, my friends. Others alien, guttural, like the words I spoke. Do it, they hiss. Do it, or we will. The screen flickers, showing my mother again, but now her throat is slit, blood pouring down her chest, her eyes still locked on mine, accusing. I scream, slashing at the laptop with the knife. The screen cracks, but the feed doesn't stop. It plays on the walls now, projected in jagged, looping images. My mother's death, over and over, her blood pooling, her mouth moving, whispering my name. I stumble back, slipping on the slick floor, and the knife falls from my hand, clattering against the concrete. The whispers turn to laughter, sharp and cruel, and the room shakes like the world itself is coming apart. I grab the knife and run back up the stairs, my flashlight flickering. The walls closing in so tight they scrape my shoulders. The door is still there, but when I burst through, I'm not in my bathroom. I'm in my apartment, but it's wrong. The furniture is overturned, the walls streaked with that same dark fluid, the air thick with the stench of decay. My phone is on the table, the mirror sight open, a new email waiting. You didn't choose. We did. The live feed shows my mother's house again, but now I'm in it, standing over her body, the knife in my hand dripping. I check my hands. They're clean, but the image feels real, like a memory I can't shake. I try to call her, but the phone won't connect. The screen glitches, and the mirror site reloads, showing a new article. Woman found dead in home, son suspected. The date is today. The photo shows her kitchen, the same one from the feed, with her body slumped in the chair. I scream her name, but the apartment is silent, except for the whispers, now coming from everywhere. Behind the walls, under the floor, inside my head. I run to the front door, but it's gone, replaced by a blank wall, the surface pulsing like flesh. The mirror sight is all I have left. I open the next email, my hands shaking so badly I can barely swipe the screen. It's another set of instructions. Find the next door. It's in your bedroom, under the bed. Jump or stay and rot. I don't want to look, but the apartment is changing faster now. The walls are bleeding, the fluid pooling on the floor, lapping at my feet. The air is so thick it's like drowning, and the whispers are screaming now, a cacophony of voices telling me to do it, to end it, to jump. I crawl into the bedroom, the floor sticky under my hands. The bed is there, but it's wrong, too large, the frame twisted, the mattress sagging like it's alive. I peer underneath, and there it is, another door, small and wooden, set into the floor. My flashlight catches something carved into it. A symbol, like an eye with too many pupils staring up at me. The whispers are deafening now, urging me to open it, to speak the words, to jump. I don't know what's waiting on the other side, but this world is no longer mine. The air smells of blood and rot, and the shadows are moving, taking shapes that aren't human. I open the door, the hinges screaming, and the darkness below is absolute, a void that swallows my flashlight's beam. The phrase burns my tongue as I speak it, the words twisting in my mouth like living things. I step through, and the world falls away. For a moment, there's nothing, just silence, weightlessness, the sensation of falling forever. Then I land, hard on a cold, wet floor, the knife still in my hand, the air thick with that same metallic stench. My phone is still with me, the mirror site open, a new email waiting. Welcome to the next layer. Choose or we choose for you. I'm not alone. Something moves in the darkness. Its breathing ragged, its footsteps wet and heavy. The whispers are gone, replaced by a low, guttural growl that makes my skin crawl. I raise the knife, my hand shaking, and the screen lights up, showing my face, but it's not me. Not anymore. My eyes are black, my mouth stretched too wide, my teeth sharp and jagged. The growl is closer now, and I know deep in my bones that whatever's coming, it's been waiting for me all along. The growl fills the darkness, a low, wet rumble that vibrates in my chest like a second heartbeat. The air is so thick with the stench of iron and decay that each breath feels like swallowing sludge. My phone screen is the only light, casting a sickly glow on the slick, pulsing walls around me. The mirror site is still open, the new email's words burned into my vision. Welcome to the next layer. Choose or we choose for you. The live feed shows my face, or what used to be my face, grinning with too many teeth, eyes like oil slicks, reflecting nothing. The thing in the darkness growls again, closer now, its footsteps slapping against the wet floor, each one deliberate, like it's savoring the approach. I grip the knife, its handle slick with sweat and the dried blood from my palm. The blade feels heavier, like it's grown since the last jump. Or maybe it's me, shrinking under the weight of this place. The room, if it is a room, is small, the walls close enough to touch, their surface rippling like muscle under skin. The floor is uneven, spongy, and my shoes sink slightly with each step, leaving dark smears behind. I swing my phone's light around, but it catches nothing. Just more walls, more shadows, and that symbol from the door, carved into every surface, an eye with too many pupils, watching. The growl shifts to my left, and I spin, knife raised, heart hammering so hard it hurts. Something moves in the corner, just beyond the light. A shape, tall and hunched, its limbs too long, its head wrong, like it's been stretched and twisted. I can't see its face, but I feel its gaze, heavy and hungry, boring into me. My phone pings, the sound jarring in the silence, and the screen flashes a new email. Run or fight. It's already here. The live feed changes, showing the room from above, me cowering with the knife, and the thing, God, the thing, crouching just out of my sight line, its body a mass of sinew and bone, its face a blur of teeth and eyes. I run. There's nowhere to go, but my legs move anyway, splashing through the shallow pools of dark liquid that coat the floor. The walls seem to shift, guiding me down a narrow corridor that wasn't there before, the eye symbols pulsing as I pass. The thing is behind me, its footsteps heavy, its breathing ragged, like it's laughing through a throat full of blood. I don't look back. I can't. The corridor ends at another door, identical to the ones before. Warped wood, rusted handle, the same carved eye staring at me. My phone pings again. Open it, jump, or stay and be consumed. I fumble with the handle. My hands slick, the knife slipping from my grip and clattering to the floor. The thing's growl is right behind me now. So close I feel the heat of its breath, wet and foul, on my neck. I throw the door open and stumble through, falling onto another staircase, the steps slick and uneven. The door slams shut behind me, cutting off the growl. But the silence is worse, heavy with the promise of something waiting below. I grab my phone, the screen cracked but still glowing, and crawl down the stairs, the walls so close they brush my shoulders, the air growing colder, thicker, like I'm sinking into a grave. The staircase ends in a chamber. Larger than the last, the walls covered in those same eye symbols, now glowing faintly, casting a sickly green light. In the center is a pool, its surface black and still, reflecting nothing. My phone pings and the mirror site loads a new page, a live feed of the pool showing my reflection, but it's not me. It's the thing from before, its face a mass of writhing flesh, eyes blinking in and out of existence, mouth splitting into a grin that stretches too wide. The email reads, "Look into the pool. Speak the words. Jump." I don't want to look, but my feet move anyway, drawn to the edge. The liquid in the pool isn't water. It's too thick, too dark, rippling slightly as if something beneath is stirring. I lean over, and my reflection stares back. But it's wrong, like the feed. My skin is gray, my eyes hollow, my mouth full of jagged teeth that don't fit. The whispers are back, coming from the pool now, a chorus of voices. My mother's, my brother's, my own, urging me to speak, to jump, to end it. The phrase from the mirror sight claws at my throat, demanding to be spoken, but I choke it back, terrified of what comes next. The pool ripples again, and something breaks the surface. A hand, pale and bloated, fingers too long, nails black and cracked. It reaches for me, and I stumble back, falling onto the slick floor. My phone pings, insistent, and the email updates, "You can't stop, it's already inside you." The live feed shows the pool, the hand, and now a face rising from the liquid. My face, but twisted, the skin peeling back to reveal muscle and bone, eyes bulging, mouth opening to scream without sound. The thing in the pool is me, or what I'm becoming. I scramble to my feet, clutching the phone, and see a new door on the far wall, barely visible in the green glow. The whispers are screaming now, a deafening roar that makes my head throb, my vision blur. I run for the door, the thing in the pool splashing behind me, its growls mixing with the whispers, calling my name. The door is locked, the handle cold and unyielding, but my phone pings again, the screen flashing. Cut yourself. Feed the door. Jump. I don't have the knife anymore. It's back in the corridor, with the thing that chased me. But my nails dig into the cut on my palm, tearing it open, and I smear the blood on the door, the wood drinking it in, the eye symbol glowing brighter. The door swings open and I fall through, landing in a new space, the air so cold it burns my lungs. The walls are gone, replaced by an endless void, the floor a patchwork of cracked stone and pooling blood. My phone is still with me, the mirror sight open, the live feed showing me standing in this nowhere place, the thing from the pool crawling out behind me, its body a mass of flesh and bone, dragging itself closer. A new email loads. Choose someone you love, end them, or it ends you. I think of my mother, my brother, my friends, their faces flashing on the screen, their deaths playing in loops, blood, screams, my hands holding the knife. I can't do it. I won't. But the thing is closer now, its claws scraping the stone, its breath hot and wet on my back. I scream, running into the void, but there's nowhere to go, just darkness, stretching forever, the eye symbols floating in the air, watching, judging. My phone pings, and the screen shows my apartment again. But it's a ruin. Walls collapsed, floorboards splintered, blood everywhere. My mother's body is there, slumped in the corner, her eyes open, staring at me. I don't know what's real anymore. The thing is right behind me, its claws brushing my shoulder, its growl vibrating in my bones. The mirror sight is all I have, its instructions the only thing keeping me moving. The latest email says to find another door, this one in the void, marked by a circle of eyes. I see it in the distance, glowing faintly, but the thing is faster now, its limbs cracking as it closes the gap. I run, my legs burning, my lungs screaming, the whispers urging me on, promising escape, promising lies. I reach the door, my hands bloody and trembling, and speak the phrase, the words tearing my throat raw. The door opens, and I jump, falling into darkness again, the thing's growl fading behind me. I land in a new place, the air thick with the smell of ash and blood, the ground soft and yielding like flesh. My phone lights up, the mirror sight loading, a new email waiting. You're almost there. One last choice. Something moves in the distance, a shape too large, too wrong, its eyes glowing like the symbols on the walls. I clutch my phone, the only thing tying me to what I used to be, and realize I've forgotten what my mother's voice sounds like. The thing is coming, and I don't know if I can jump again. The air in this new place is choking, a mix of ash and blood so thick it coats my tongue, my throat, my lungs. The ground beneath me pulses, soft and warm, like I'm standing on something alive. My phone screen is cracked, flickering, but the mirror sight is still there, glowing with a sickly light that cuts through the darkness. The final email sits open. You're almost there. One last choice. The words burn into my eyes, and the live feed shows me, or what's left of me, standing in this fleshy void, my face barely recognizable, skin gray and stretched, eyes sunken into black pits. The thing from the pool is here too, its massive form looming in the distance, its eyes like burning coals, its body a writhing mass of muscle and bone, dragging itself closer with wet, cracking sounds. I don't know where I am anymore. The jumps have stripped away everything. My apartment, my city, my world. Each door, each ritual, has pulled me deeper into this nightmare. And now I'm standing on the edge of something final, something I can't come back from. The ground shifts, rippling under my feet, and the whispers are louder than ever, a deafening chorus of voices, my mother's, my brother's, my own, twisted and layered with others, alien and guttural, chanting the phrase I've spoken too many times. It's in my head and my blood rewriting me from the inside out. The email said there's a door, one last door, marked by a circle of eyes. I see it now, glowing in the distance, a warped wooden frame embedded in the fleshy ground. The eye symbols pulsing like heartbeats. But the thing is closer, its claws scraping the surface, its breath a wet rasp that fills the void. I run, my legs weak, my body heavy, the ground sucking at my feet like it's trying to pull me under. My phone pings, the sound sharp and wrong, and the screen flashes a new message. Choose someone you love, end them, or become it. The live feed shifts, showing my mother's face, her eyes wide with fear, her mouth moving in a silent scream. Then my brother, his body broken in a car wreck, his hands reaching for me. My friends, their faces pulped, their blood on my hands. The images loop, faster and faster, each one more vivid, more real, until I can feel the weight of the knife, the warmth of their blood, the sound of their screams. I don't have the knife anymore. I lost it somewhere in the last jump, but my hands feel heavy, like they remember holding it, like they've already done what the sight demands. I reach the door, my chest heaving. The things growl so close it shakes the ground. The eye symbols are alive, blinking, staring, their pupils dilating as I approach. My phone pings again, the screen showing the door, but it's not wood anymore. It's flesh, raw and red, veins pulsing beneath the surface. The email updates. Cut yourself, feed the door, speak the words, jump. My palm is already torn, the old wound weeping blood, but I dig my nails in deeper, ripping the skin, letting the blood drip onto the door. It drinks it in, the flesh quivering, the eyes glowing brighter, the handle, now a knot of bone, clicking as it unlocks. The thing is right behind me, its claws brushing my back, tearing through my shirt, my skin. I scream, the pain sharp and searing, and speak the phrase, the words spilling out like poison, my throat raw and bleeding. The door swings open, revealing a void darker than anything I've seen, a blackness that feels alive, hungry. I don't want to jump, but the thing's claws dig deeper, its breath hot and foul, and the whispers are screaming, telling me there's no other way. I step through and the world dissolves. I'm falling, weightless, the air gone, the sound gone, just silence and cold and the sensation of being unmade. Then I land, hard, on a surface that's neither solid nor liquid, a shifting mass that clings to my skin. My phone is still with me, the screen cracked but glowing, the mirror sight open to a final page. The live feed shows me, but I'm not human anymore. My body is twisted, my limbs too long, my face a mass of eyes and teeth, my hands dripping with blood that isn't mine. The email reads, "You chose your home." I try to scream, but my mouth doesn't work right, the sound coming out as a wet, guttural growl. The void around me is alive, pulsing, filled with shapes that move like the thing that chased me, their eyes glowing, their bodies merging with the darkness. I see my mother's face in the distance, but it's wrong. Her skin peeling, her eyes black, her mouth grinning with too many teeth. My brother is there too, his body broken, crawling toward me, whispering my name. They're not them. They're me, or what I've become, pieces of my life twisted into this place, this layer, this hell. The mirror sight loads one last time, the screen flickering, dying. The final message is simple. There are no more doors. The feed cuts to a view of my apartment, but it's not mine anymore. The walls are flesh, the floor a pool of blood, the windows black voids. I'm there, standing in the center, My body a nightmare. My hands holding a knife I don't remember picking up. The feed zooms in, and I see my eyes, black, endless, reflecting the circle of eyes from the doors, from the walls, from the void. I try to move, to run, to fight, but my body doesn't obey. It's not mine anymore. The whispers are gone, replaced by a single voice, mine, but deeper, colder, coming from inside me. "You're home," it says, and I feel my mouth stretch into a grin, my teeth sharp, my hands heavy with purpose. The void is full of others now, their shapes converging, their eyes watching, welcoming. I don't know if I chose this or if it chose me, but the mirror sight was right. There's no going back. The phone dies, the screen going black, and the void closes in. I'm part of it now, part of the eyes, the flesh, the blood. The thing that chased me is gone, because it's me or I'm it, and the distinction doesn't matter anymore. My mother's face appears again, but it's my face too, and we're both grinning, both growling, both home. The last thing I feel is the ground beneath me, pulsing like a heartbeat, and the weight of the knife, ready for whatever comes next. There are no more doors, but there's something else. Something waiting, something hungry, and I'm no longer afraid. I'm part of it, and it's part of me. And together we'll keep jumping deeper and deeper until there's nothing left to consume. Thank you for listening. Hope I didn't scare you too much. If you like my stories, please consider giving me a like and subscribe. See you next time.